the bottom line is, as you said right at the top of the show, it puts the Reds 3 points off the title. Now, there has been much debate, much discussion in the few days since we last spoke, and in the wake of that win, about the nature of how Liverpool are going to eventually win this. There was a very strange chat between a mutual buddy of ours, podcast buddy of mine, and one of your ex-chums, Jason McAteer, about how he was on beIN Sport. I don't know if you know Richard Keys and obviously
I know Richard, yeah.
And Andy Gray.
For the people who don't know, Richard started his broadcasting career on Merseyside.
Yes.
So he goes back a long way. I mean, I know him as well as you can know radio people and TV people and journalists. So yeah.
And whatever it is about young Keys, over the last few years, he seems to have developed a little bit of a antipathy. Is maybe too strong a word, but a little bit of he's got the hump, it seems, when he talks about Liverpool a lot. Like, I think that might be, and maybe the Merseyside thing is the link here. I think he might be an Everton fan. I could be wrong about that, but whatever it is, anyway.
He's a Coventry fan.
He's a Coventry fan. Okay, right. Well, whatever the angle is, he was very, very much on the bandwagon that we've seen multiple times across different fan media and also in some of the more neutral mainstream media things about, well, the standard hasn't been great. There's been no real challenge to Liverpool, was Richard Keys' point, and it was very much being backed up by Andy Gray. And what Jason McAteer was trying to point out to the two lads was, well, look, you can only beat what's in front of you. And the point about it not being what Keys' comment continually was, it's not being a vintage season. And I see this not just from him, I see this from across the board. And it depends what club you're with, but every club that is in Liverpool are finding ways to somehow denigrate this achievement. But if we look at it, Jan, on its face, it's a man coming in his first year with a team that finished off the pace last year, and many people might have thought a squad that was sort of at its elastic limit. And he's gone and won the title, which is the milestone of consistency. I mean, how can you run that down? Let me just finish this off by saying, and by the way, in the comments the last day, Jan, we had someone referring to the fact that I do a bit of talking on this show. And I think you'll agree with me that this works best as a dialogue as opposed to just 2-second questions to you where you just rant off. That has been the success of the show, I would have thought, that we actually are having a conversation. Fair to say?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Trev. And, it's not as if you haven't earned your stripe as a Liverpool fan and, you watch all the games and you got a good eye for the game. Yes or no, absolutely. It works well. In terms of Liverpool's achievement, we briefly spoke about it last week. We live in a world now that unless you win every game, you can't be that good. So there'll be people going, Liverpool lost to Plymouth. How good are they? Well, yeah, get over yourself. But I just can't see that how Manchester City performed or Manchester United or Spurs performed. What's that got to do with Liverpool? It has absolutely nothing to do with Liverpool. I think what is actually happening is that more power to the managers. I think there's more belief in managers now than there's been for years. So they're kind of running with the managers' ideas. Hence the reason that whether it's Bournemouth or Brighton, Fulham, all those teams are Brentford are massively improving because they're running with the manager's idea, and the managers are actually very good at their jobs. Whereas maybe for years there was always hurdles and obstructions put in your way as a manager, and now they go, no, the most important guy at our club is the manager. So I think they've got some really good managers who's improving the product as a whole. Yes, City haven't been City, but that's not Liverpool's problem, is it? Liverpool have still only lost 2 games. And the one thing that gets me a little bit is that people are saying Liverpool are stumbling over the line. Liverpool have won 6 of the last 7 games. It's not really stumbling, is it? Yes, we can discuss individual performances and go, it hasn't been as outstanding as we would have liked. But that's a vanity thing, isn't it? it's a vanity thing in that the better you play, and then you might get a place at the big table where people go, this is amongst the best teams who's ever won the Premier League, isn't it? But for this group of players, for the fans on Sunday, there's only one thing that will matter, isn't there? And that is the Liverpool win the title. And my only advice to Liverpool fans is don't get involved in it. Just go. Like the banner said, I think at Leicester on Sunday, innit? It's not 19 forever. I think there was a banner in the cup at the end way, and I said it's not 19 forever. It isn't. It's almost 20. So
it's almost 20. Yeah, like the thing about it is, I suppose, jobs like yours and mine, we have to get into the weeds on the performance levels, and I think it is fair to say that the performance levels haven't been what we'd like them to be. And you're right, it does come down to a vanity thing, and I'll openly admit that. I want us to keep stumbling across the line in the way that we're doing, because that will mean we should break the 90-point thing. We could still secure 94 points. These are like nerdy little things that matter to people. Some people, they don't matter to other people. They matter to me because I want Liverpool to be acknowledged as one of the great teams. And I'm sorry, you can talk all you like about lack of competition, but you get the points on the board, end of discussion. But, and there is a little bit of a but here, it hasn't been comfortable these last few games. It's been a bit of a struggle. It feels a little bit like we're looking at lads who are underperforming. I'm thinking of guys of ridiculous talent like Dom Szoboszlai. I'm thinking of the diminishing returns from Gravenberch. I'm thinking of our outstanding centre-half pairing who have had sketchy games individually and as a pair once. That type of thing is not comfortable for us to watch. And we saw, didn't we, the real importance of having the best goalkeeper in the world return, because he probably made all the difference on a couple of occasions very recently. What do you make of the way that this there has been a tailing off really in terms of the performance at times? We still racking up the shots, Jan. We could have, in that Leicester game, it could have been 4-5 on a different day. It's hard to know what to make of this. Are we over-egging the disappointing level of the performance, perhaps?
It comes down to, yet again, in the world that we live in, everything is analysed, isn't it? You know what I mean? So you get it get analysed on TV, and then within 24 hours, you got 15, 20 people on YouTube who's analysed the whole thing. You got a written journalist who's analysed the whole thing. So it will in many ways be quite easy to see a drop off from early season when you were at it, when every point mattered. Yeah, when you go out to the games angry because we need every single point. I was fortunate to win the league 3 times when I was at Liverpool. 86 was on the last day. 1990 was on the second last day. But in 1988, we won it with a little bit to spare. But if you look at our results after we'd won it, it became a bit, 1-1, drew 1, lost 1. And I look at this group of players and I can just picture them in the dressing room, Trevor, still doing everything they normally do in terms of preparation, but defeated up, aren't they? And the backroom staff, this is when the manager will say to the backroom staff, you got a bigger job today than normally, because we've got to get these boys fired up, yeah. The feet up on it, and they're going, come on, and you're going, it'll be all right. That's human nature, Trevor. It's human nature, because it's done, isn't it? It can be very difficult when it's not a lot, is it? And you don't do it intentionally. Absolutely, you don't do it intentionally, because as you said, I've done everything like I normally do. Yeah, but you just got 2% off, which is enough in it. At this level of competition, you take 2% of your performance, it becomes a game. Even when you play Leicester or we played West Ham the week before, you take a couple of percent of your performance, it becomes a game. And then we come back to that old saying Ron Moran always used to say, start quick and you can always go quicker. Start slow and you're in trouble. It's a fair point, isn't it? And we've experienced that in the last few games, haven't we? We're not really getting there, are we? We have moments because we're better than most of the teams that we play against. But we don't really get there as in a 90-minute performance, mainly because we don't have to. And I know fans get frustrated. You go, why can't they? I can't explain it. I've been there myself. I don't know.
I saw an interview with Ian Rush, and he was talking. It was around about 2020 when Liverpool were about to win the title, and he was looking back on that 1990 season you mentioned, and he was saying that, possibly player for player, the 2020 squad might have been even better. And he was saying the thing that squad had, that team had, and I think it makes a lot of sense because there was a lot of guys who had been around for a long time together. He was talking about, being in the trenches together, giving that extra bit of a dig out for your pal, getting things over the line. And like you said, it was within a couple of games, wasn't it, before the title was decided. This team here now are in a situation where potentially they could be looking at having it done next weekend. That's remarkable. That is remarkable. It's a remarkable achievement, up and down and sideways. It doesn't matter what way you level it. And I wonder what's behind this idea of claiming things about the levels. Because if we just take ourselves a little bit sideways for a sec, we just talk about maybe, because I'd like to get your take on this, just for a little bit of conversation about somebody other than the Reds for a sec. If we look at the table, Jan, it's a really, really interesting setup at the minute for the Champions League places. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen it as fascinating. Forest won last night to go level on games played with everybody else in the setup now, so it's nice and easy to talk about. And Forest are on 60 points in third spot. And Newcastle are a point behind them on 59. And City are a point behind them on 58. And then you've got Chelsea and Villa a point further behind on 57. So there's 3 points there between 7th and 3rd. And it really does feel to me like it's kind of up for grabs there. I can't really predict how that's going to go. You could make different arguments about involvements in different competitions and all the rest of it. You could talk about teams having to rally. And I mean, we spoke about how it's distinctly possible, just given the way things have gone from this season, that Man City could be out of even a top 5. So when you look at that, do you have a gut feeling about who's going to make up the other 3? Because like I say, it's nailed on. We assume that Arsenal are going to keep plugging away. We saw a very impressive 4-0 win when, they didn't have to do that. The title challenge is kind of out the window. But so we assume they're going to hang on in there and stay where they are. When you look at Forest, Newcastle, City, Chelsea, what are the 3 for you that's going to make it there? And Villa, sorry. Which 3 out of those is gonna make it for you, or do you think it's absolutely lap of the gods?
I think it's a little bit lap of the gods, actually, Trevor, because I don't have any strong feelings about any of them. Prior to last night and Forest going to London and beating Spurs, I thought their season might have been derailed. Over the last couple of performances, they looked a bit, against Everton at home. I'm thinking they're going to find it difficult to score, and then Everton nick one late on, then they lose a game, and I'm thinking Forest have got some tricky games coming up. Then you got Newcastle, who looked very impressive until they took themselves a good hiding down at Villa Park, where they were simply overrun. Chelsea got a much-needed win away from home at Craven Cottage against Fulham, but they have struggled. They're struggling with form, and their star player is bang out of form, isn't he? Cole Palmer is not delivering at the moment. Manchester City probably got the easiest programme of all of them. But they're also the ones that I still very much doubt Manchester City. Even last week they won 2-0 at Goodison Park, isn't it? But I'm not sure that's a fair reflection of the game. Yet again, they didn't play particularly well. And then you got Villa, who are flying, absolutely flying. Although Villa equally have had some big problems on the road. They've been very, very strong at home at Villa Park, but away from home, they've been a bit tricky. And as we do this show on the Tuesday, they play tonight, don't they? Man City play Villa tonight. So what a monster of a game this is. So I'm going to go with Man City, Newcastle, and I think Forest might just do it.
They're the 3 I went with as well. And I have very little extra rationale than you. I think there's something a little bit hinky going on at Chelsea. It feels like it's a little bit unsettled. and I think just Villa might fall away. So that would be it. I'm really impressed with Forest and their staying power. Really impressed, I have to say. I didn't see that coming back in, the early months of the season when they were hanging in there.